The issue of the Ten Commandments and prayer in our public schools is back in the news again. Earlier this week, State House Representative from Texas, Phil Stevenson, introduced a resolution that wants to see the Ten Commandments displayed prominently in public schools and other public institutions, and calls for the return of prayer, including the use of the word God, in those same institutions. While I am sympathetic to the fact that all too often we banish faith altogether from public life and popular culture in our attempt to defend the rights of all people, both people of faith and people of no faith at all, this resolution is simply a terrible idea for four very distinct ideas. The first is that this is a decided issue. The Supreme Court in 2005 said that such displays of the Ten Commandments are unconstitutional. And by introducing this legislation, what Stevenson is doing is deflecting from his real job of governance in the state of Texas to simply stir the pot and provoke people unnecessarily. Second of all, the fact that the majority of Texans, as he claims, would like to see this happen actually doesn't matter. Already centuries ago, Tocqueville talks about the notion of tyranny of the majority. The fact the majority wants something doesn't mean that in securing their having it, they're allowed to trample on the rights of others with whom they happen to disagree. And so the fact the majority wants this doesn't clear the bar. As Sandra Day O'Connor said in her decision in 2005, while we respect the majority, when it comes to the First Amendment, we don't count heads. The third reason is that it's not even clear what faith is being championed here. What version of the Ten Commandments would go in? The Christian version, for example, which says thou shalt not kill? Or the Hebrew original, which says thou shalt not murder? There's a world of difference between those. And even if those details could be worked out, as I'm sure they could, the real issue there is that we need to be very careful in any conversation about faith or faithlessness with confusing that which we happen to believe with the only possible authentic and legitimate belief that people can have. Ultimately, though, probably the most damaging thing about this resolution is that it retards the very conversation which Stevenson wants to have. If we are seriously concerned about being able to feel the faith we follow more fully in public life and popular culture, then the way to do it is not with unnecessary provocation, stirring the pot, and introducing fear about trampling on other people's lives and insensitivity to the beliefs they hold. It would be to roll up our sleeves and talk about what each of us needs to be more comfortable, to feel that we could have a more robust role for faith in public life and popular culture, but never at the expense of those with whom we disagree, and never at the expense of the constitutional rights that are assured to all people, whatever faith or no faith they choose to follow.